Hey, it's Junkman, and here we are on the tour bus, Halestorm's tour bus, with my old friend, bassist for Halestorm. This is Josh Smith.
Hi.
How you doing, dude?
Great.
Good to see you again.
Yeah, good to see you too. It's been a while.
Yeah, Jacksonville, I think, was the last time we saw each other.
So,
that was recently.
Okay.
It was in, I think that was May.
Yeah.
So, but here we are in the heat of Las Vegas.
Yeah, it's a dry heat.
Yeah, it's dry heat, but. Yeah, dude, you guys are everywhere. This is like
We
the
are.
end of the tour, the end of the American tour.
Yeah.
And then you guys are off to Russia right after this, which is
yeah,
unbelievable.
we have we play Harley Davidson Festival in Milwaukee over Labor Day weekend, and so that'll be really fun. And then yeah, we go overseas, go to Russia, Finland, UK.
What's your preparation for something like that? I mean,
You know what's funny is like I just started today because like just whatever we're packing, to go home, but there's things going every which way, right? So like we're gonna fly home, but like I'm leaving stuff on the bus, but certain things I have to prep for Europe, guitar with my guitars and stuff, and so I'm like, yeah, it was like a logistical kind of day today, just planning our escape and future flights in the next 2 weeks. So
which has got to be a lot.
Yeah.
I was also thinking with a lot of things too about nutrition and things like that on the road. Now you're into fitness. You obviously got to pack things that are not going to be available in Europe.
Yeah.
I mean, what kind of prep do you have to do for something like that?
For Europe, I go pretty light. Over here, I'll bring a few extra things because I know we have the room. But Europe, we travel pretty lean and mean, and there's gonna be like 14 of us on a bus or something. So yeah, like I get a workout in whenever I can, and it's funny you ask that because I really haven't thought about it yet. But
there you go.
Like,
I'm here to remind me. Huh?
I don't know. I've been doing body weight type workouts. I'll just keep doing that, and call it a day.
So you guys got like a full-on gym in the bus, or a little treadmill or anything like
separate
that?
Separate bus, full gym.
Yeah.
On the private plane.
Up. Yeah, the private plane and the valet, right? Of course, absolutely. But now, you've been to Russia before, right? So you kind of know what to expect, But are there different cities that you're going to be hitting this time, or are they the same ones?
No, Moscow and St. Petersburg.
What can you tell us about the Russian fans over there? That could be
oh my gosh,
like above and beyond different than everywhere else that you would.
I don't. They are very unique. What's unique is in their culture. I think maybe not everywhere. I've heard this and I've seen it, and so but I've seen the opposite too. But I think as a culture, they're like very stoic people, and they're very strong, and they don't show a lot of emotion as you go around. And I remember people telling us that before we went there the first time, like they said like don't show emotion or anything because then they know you're a tourist, and like whether that's here nor there. But when they come to a rock show, like all bets are off. Like
they just go completely nuts.
Yeah, it's time to let go and have a good time. And
I remember when there weren't even rock shows over there.
Yeah, right.
There was a time when they had no rock shows over there.
Yeah.
So that's got to be a real blast for people over there.
It's so cool, and they're so good to us. They take such good care of us, and so yeah, I love it over there. And there's there's good food. There's great places to visit. Obviously Red Square and everything, and we haven't spent a lot of time in St. Petersburg, but that place is beautiful. It's like, I don't know, it's we've walked around a little, and it's I want to say like a French vibe to it or something. Yeah, it's cool.
Well, now you've got something to bring them too. You got a brand new record, Vicious, which is it's become up there with my favorite Halestorm records, simply because I love the fact that this record just it starts out so heavy, and just kind of, with your last record you really explored a lot of new options, but there's a lot of new things that are going on with Vicious.
Yeah.
New producer.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about how the record would differ from Halestorm stuff in the past. Tell us a little bit more.
like, it sounds so cliche to say that this
It's
record
okay.
sound, you know, is the most Halestorm sounding record to date. But it is, and it's true, and I think every one has been that. That's been the evolution of us, is to try and bottle that live energy, and this is definitely the closest, you know, we've gotten to that. And it's because of Nick, our producer. He's such a rock first guy, and he's a fan, a rock fan, like through and through. And so and friends of mine said it too. They're like, yeah, we love his records because he makes the band sound like the band, you know. And it's true. He really did. So you know, he captured that, which we really haven't had yet. The first two albums with Howard are awesome albums. They're so clean and well produced and everything. And but if you were to come to a live show, that's not how we sound.
So a lot of this is recorded live in the studio.
Oh yeah. And the other thing is we did pre-production. We did a lot of writing in the studio as well. So the whole process took place in the studio over the course of like a year and a half. And in that time, we would work up a song, demo it, re-demo it, demo it again, change some things around, played it. Like by the time most of these songs were recorded, we had shed them and worked through them and played through them and recorded them already like 5 times before they actually, you know, became what you hear.
So we
now.
are absolutely sure this is what it's gonna be.
We have explored every option, and that's it. So yeah.
So it's a pretty democratic process on songwriting and things like that. Is that the way you do it? You all bring equal amounts to the game, or?
Yeah, I think so. You know, obviously Lizzie is our she's the front woman. She's the voice, and her, you know, her content, most of it comes from her lyrical content and everything. But that was another thing. I think over the last the 3 previous records, like, we sort of refined our writing in that, you know, Lizzie would usually go off and write with people, and then last record Lizzie and Joe went off and did a lot of writing, and then we put together everything else in studio. Whereas this one, it was like all 4 of us on deck, show up at studio every day, work for 10 hours or more, and until we got a song or 2. Excuse me. And so that was fun. It was like, it was an old school way. It was the way we used to do it before, you know, before we started diving into our first album. Mm-hmm. So it was cool. It was a fun experience. It was like a labor of love.
Absolutely.
Sure. Yeah.
So, man, I mean, now a lot of the material, were this stuff that was written on like tour buses and backstage, or was this just stuff that you go home and you write, or, you know, what's the process?
So it's funny, some of them date back, like the Silence. Joe's had that acoustic guitar thing, like rattling around for 2 years, I think. And there's some B-sides that you guys will hear very soon.
Always looking forward to those.
That again are like older things that like didn't make last album's cut, but we like brought them back. We're like, no, these are cool.
Yeah.
And then like Do Not Disturb. I remember Lizzie showing me that demo, like we were on tour. Geez, I can remember where we are, but I can't remember when. But is probably 2 years old,
okay,
at least. But then Uncomfortable, that came from, that was one of the first things where we had an idea. We had like those songs in our back pocket, right? With those kind of things, but we really didn't know what we wanted to do on this album. We felt lost going into this album as to like, what are we trying to accomplish here? The only thing we really knew was like, we want this to like rock. We want it to be a hard the hardest album, you know. And they are like rock song after rock
like
song.
Vicious,
you know?
and Black Vultures, they come right at you.
Yeah.
This is Halestorm stuff.
Yeah.
I can see them being, performed live, and just the way that you
Right.
guys have so much energy that come out. But then it goes into like a ballad and things like that.
Yeah.
That are just lyrically. That's when you just start listening to the lyrics. For me, anyway.
Yeah.
That's when I start listening to the lyrics a little bit more, because I'm not all caught up on just the full-on rock, which is great.
Yeah.
So I love the way, like I said, the diversity that I spoke of earlier.
Right.
I love that. I want to see more, and then again.
And this is why we play live so much. This is like our testing ground, our proving ground for new material, and it's where we learn what works with the crowd, and that's all that matters, because if it works out here, like it's going to make for something good on a record that will evolve and turn into a new moment, and it's all about creating moments. And so this album is really, I think, sort of the creation of that, just like what would work live.
Do you have a favorite track off of Vicious? And if so, why?
Jeez, Uncomfortable has been really fun lately.
Yeah.
The funny thing is like these songs have been, for as much as we worked on them and as much as we recorded them, like they were really hard to work up live, and Uncomfortable, like you're constantly like shedding it and figuring out like, oh, something's weird here in the bridge, what are you doing, and we're like trying to like figure out, because like what you do live doesn't always, or what you do on the record doesn't always work live, and so there's some changes there. But I think to answer your question, I think like Skulls I think that's the most fun to play right now, and that was so hard to learn. It's like such an easy song.
Mm-hmm.
Sounding is an easy song, and it's got this awesome groove to it, but you have to keep that hop the whole time. But then all four of us are singing harmonies and obviously melody on that, and every chorus, but with that, to keep that hop and rapid singing part, it was like really hard for the four of us to like lock in and like not push ahead or slow down or whatever. So that was, like I still like have to practice that and get that in my head before I go on stage. Otherwise it's a train wreck.
Well, there's new equipment too. I noticed. I'm hearing talk boxes, and I'm hearing different things like that. I mean, anything in particular that you brought to the game this time around that said that we really want to put this on this record? Anything like that, or am I just
so
throwing that out there?
So like I guess it was last album cycle, I bought Moog Taurus pedals. Okay. And it was
like Geddy Lee.
Yeah, Geddy Lee, and it was like it's so fun to just have this pad, this foundation, this freaking earth moving bulldozer of sound, and like
I love that. Can I use that?
and then it frees me up to like kind of move up the neck a little bit while the it's held down, the song, the structure is held, blasting. And so that's been fun, and it's something we utilized a lot, and on this record too, we started with that, and I got this new keyboard that I just like tucked away in a corner for so long. It's called a Rolly, and it's incredible. The software that it comes with is like just incredible sounding stuff, but the keyboard itself feels like neoprene pad or something.
Really?
And it's super expressive, so it's not like just strike, sustain, release. It's like also how you slide up and down can change anything. It's completely customizable, but I use that a bunch. And it's or like a guitar or something. It just has so much more expressive feel than like a regular keyboard. So anyway, I had that. That was throughout the record. It's on Do Not Disturb. Like in the bridge, you can hear the synthy sounds of it and everything. And but then like it kind of started this synth battle, and like we got Joe ended up going out and getting a Model D Moog. And then I went out and got a Sub Fatty, and then he went out and got a subsequent 37, and like we had like this Moog off for a second. We're like, and so a lot more Moog is on the record. It's
great.
Consequently,
which means lower low end.
Yeah, low end, but also high information as well. But that was a really fun process, and that in itself, like, I played a lot of keys on it. Lizzie played some keys on some songs. Joe played some synth stuff on it. Usually the producer would do that. Like I remember Jay Joyce doing a lot of different just pads, different sounding stuff on a lot. And prior to that, Howard usually was he's a keyboard guy.
Right.
So it was fun for us to like really take the helm on that and like go for it. So yeah,
it's such a great record. I mean, there's something for everybody on this record. So again, it's called Vicious and brand new. It's again, it's become up in my top favorite Halestorm records. It's awesome, man. So I wanted to tell you that in purpose.
Thank you.
And the last time I saw you, the record wasn't even out.
Yeah.
So now it's out, and it's great.
It wasn't even done last time.
I know I'm running low on batteries on my machine over here, so I gotta get a couple of quick ones. First, is there going to be another Reanimate record out, you think? Have you guys been coming up with some new cover tunes that we gotta record that one?
It's so funny, yeah. We've already like started talking, like some of them have been really a big joke, but like there have been a few that were like, this would be cool, and we're just like noted. There aren't any definitive plans for it yet, but
well, obviously you got enough on your plate.
Yeah,
right
exactly.
Now, so
we're just
that's for another day.
Still learning the songs we just recorded.
It's just so cool, man. I've been a Halestorm fan from like day one. As again, you know that I know you for quite a while now.
Oh yeah.
It's always fun to see you guys, and I'm going to see you again live tonight here in Las Vegas.
Yeah,
right out on Fremont Street, man. That's kind of fun. Is this the first time you've ever played out here?
Yeah, it's the first time I've been to the old Vegas area and everything.
Yeah, it's a trip.
Yeah, it is.
It's a trip. I've seen, just like your band, I've watched it when there wasn't any of that stuff. It was completely different. I watched the metamorphosis of it and all, but yeah, it's got to be a blast. And you guys obviously love what you're doing. I mean, you guys are on stage. I've never seen a happier band.
We have fun. Yeah,
absolutely.
We do. And we just have more and more fun every time we go out there. It's like if we mess up, you can probably tell because we'll look at each other and call each other out more or less, in a somewhat discreet way. But I don't know, if you look for it, we just look over each other like that.
Well, Halestormrocks.com is where you can find anything about them, and of course, all the usual social media places that you can find anything you need to know about Halestorm. One more thing about equipment. What are you using out on the road these days?
Really, I started dumbing down my scene last album cycle and continued this, and I have a Fender Super Bassman. I have a selector pedal to
Fender rules.
Yeah, I have a selector pedal to just change channels on it. It's a 2-channel thing, and then a tuner, and that's it. And then I have the Moog, and then I have a Nord just for a couple of piano and synth things, and then I bought a new bass. I bought 2 basses out on this run, so we're starting to pick up the I'm trying to catch up with Joe because he's a gearhead sucker for good guitar. he'll buy it, and so I bought a new old 75 jazz bass. It's very pretty. I've been playing that a lot.
Got one of those myself.
Cool.
Yeah, it's a great one. It's a little newer one, but it's a jazz bass. Enough said.
Yeah.
Another thing that just came to mind. Actually, we were talking about that earlier before I came up on the bus here. Was most of you guys are based in one spot now in terms of rehearsals and things like that for the tour. RJ lives on the West Coast.
Yeah.
Tell us about how you get all that together and spend enough time until you're happy for touring. Or is the rehearsal basically on tour?
No, we tried that. We've tried it and it does not work.
Yeah.
So we always get together at least a week out and spend a couple hours a day working through stuff. And prior to this record coming out, it was like know your parts before we start rehearsing, so we don't have to waste time, going over it. But we're usually a week out we start rehearsing. So RJ flies out, and we'll start like small rehearsals at usually over at Joe and Lizzie's house, and then we'll do like a production rehearsal for a couple of days, and then usually we if it's available, we'll post up at the first venue at night before, especially at the beginning of a tour like we did this tour, which was great because we have new stuff.
Right.
Everyone needs to rehearse, our entire crew, and just get all the bugs worked out. You get planted in the first day before tour and do a full run through, full dress rehearsal type deal, and everyone knows where they stand, and it makes things a lot easier.
Always excited bringing new material, man. It's always going to be like the test right there.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? Absolutely. So, well, again, I appreciate you talking with me here at in Vegas on the bus, letting us on the nice tour bus. But again, I'm Junkman. This is Josh, and they are Halestorm, and they're going to rock Fremont Street today. So, again, my friend, good to see you as always.
Pleasure.
So, enjoy.
Thanks.